All right, today I'm really excited to be joined by a singer-songwriter whose music I've been following for years. You might know him from his TikTok live performances, his emotional songwriting, or seeing his recently highlighted journey in VoyageLA magazine. Now, he builds genuine connections with his listeners through honest lyrics, expressive guitar work, and a voice that really stays with you. I'm grateful to have him here today to perform live and unpack one of my favorite songs of his, Miss You Anyway. Please welcome to the podcast the amazing Brad Kirsch.
What's going on, Casey? How are you?
So good. Thank you for doing this with me. It's exciting to have you chat, dissect your song. But I have a question for you at the beginning here. Where are you at so far in 2026? What's the new year look like for you?
Well, already starting off with a loaded question, but 2026, which I'm confident is already going to be a great year, better than 2025. But right now, I'm in Southern California, where I live. I recently just got back from up north in Napa. I was visiting my sister and taking some time up there performing some gigs at some wineries and some breweries. And I'm continuing to write some new material and in between looking at some new opportunities for jobs. But I've been playing a lot in the last couple of months. So that's what we're looking at right now.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I did see on your socials that you've been traveling a lot. So is this kind of where what you're wanting to do for 2026? Are you in a new direction for yourself musically and personally, or kind of what sparked the travel for you?
Definitely both. I work in hospitality. I've been doing that for 18 to 20 years, and I love performing at all the restaurants that I've worked at. And the restaurant that I was working at in Southern California closed back in May, and it was very sad. I was there 5 years, my favorite place ever. I just been taking some time off and I just really wanted to regroup because normally I'll just steamroll into the next restaurant. And I just wanted to take some time for myself towards the end of this year and see where the wind took me and could take. Yeah.
So what's kind of been the most exciting about your journey so far, or are you feeling just really grounded now since you've been taking some time and figuring out like where you want to go? What's kind of pulling you in either direction right now?
I feel extremely grounded. I feel very at peace. As a lot, if you've ever worked in a restaurant, it kind of takes you away from being grounded. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, I love people, and that's also part of the reason why I love performing for people and connecting. But it's hard to find the time to get back to music when I'm working so much and serving people in a different way and in a different light. And I'm also a little nervous because the bank account starts to go a little lower and a little
Hmm.
lower, but I feel like my vibration is becoming higher and higher,
Good.
and I feel very aligned with myself right now, and that anything that comes my way, even if it's a job,
Hmm.
I want it to feel right. I don't want to do it because I feel like I have to.
Exactly. And that's such a hard kind of like line to balance on like what's good for my my career, where am I going, what's good for me personally, what's good for my family. Like there's so many different avenues. And like you, I'm a independent artist as well. I do all of this on my own, single person doing it. So like there's a lot of steps that we have to almost perfect just to get our craft out there. And so finding the balance of how much do I invest in my craft, how much do I take for myself as personal storytelling. I don't know about you with music, it's been really therapeutic for me. I usually write or record when I've gone through something recently or something that I haven't been able to get over through like traditional therapy. Are you kind of the similar artist that way?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can't force inspiration or creativity. It comes when it comes. And a lot of the time
Hmm.
we're going through something heavy or deep or light and love, stuff can come out. And you also get a sense of accomplishment when you finish something or you've created a body of work. And even if it was a really rough beginning of the day, you didn't even know you were going to write something towards the end of the day.
Right.
And then you go to sleep being like, it was a good day.
Right.
I think we were born to create, whether that's music or our life.
So kind of piggybacking off of that, are you working on anything new? You've released a lot of music in 2025. Can we expect kind of the same thing for 2026?
Yes, one of my goals in this past year, and it's funny because 2025 was a very hard year emotionally for me.
Mm,
I just feel like I was not all over the place, but just kind of lost and just
mm,
feeling very sad. And I take a step back and I'm very hard on myself, but I look at the year and I'm like, I've done a lot of amazing things too. And I put out 12 songs on, that was one of my goals this year, is to not worry about getting it produced or getting a song to be perfect. I just wanted to put it out. And
mhm.
so I, signed with DistroKid and they're my publishers. And I just, every time I finish a song, I'll record it live myself, adjust it to my best of my abilities, and then I put it out into the world. And so it's been on all streaming platforms. And I'm definitely looking forward to continuing that. I started writing an album, which has been amazing.
Ooh.
And yeah, uh, yeah.
What
So
can you
that's
tell me about that? Like, where are you at in the process? Is this going to be like, um, is this going to be like an era for you? Are you defining the album, or is it going to be a kind of a collection of what you've gone through recently?
well, I've written three of the songs that are going to be on the album,
Cool.
and my writing is, I wouldn't say all over the place, but there's no order to it.
Mm,
Sometimes I'll come up with a chord progression and then words come to me, and it's kind of emulating exactly what I'm going through.
mm-hmm.
Or this album, for example, I knew what I wanted it to be called, and I already have the track names for it. So I haven't written the songs, and
Okay.
then I started writing. And one day I was like, I'm gonna write Tolerance Break. That was track number one.
Okay.
Friends with Benefits was track two, and I released that one. I did a live version of it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a little. This is where it's hard for me because I want to put stuff out
I
immediately.
know.
And I'm like, well, do I hold off? Do I I'll eventually re-record Friends with Benefits to make it, more album ready, but it's hard, when I want everyone to hear what I put out like now.
I
I'm
know.
I'm very impatient, Casey.
Yes, I feel you. Recording on my own or like working with a producer friend, it just takes a lot of time sometimes. And like
Yeah,
with you, that's a great goal for me to kind of take from you is to not be so obsessed with the production value of it, to kind of just get music out there. Um, I can sit on a song for a year or two, and
yeah,
it makes writing an album challenging because I'm such a single person. Like I focus on this. I want to give it out, share it, let everyone like in on my journey, and then I'll start working on something else. So now that you're
100%.
writing an album and you've kind of gone through both sides, are the songs kind of coming together? Have you seen some kind of ease with
Flirting
writing
with
this
it,
now?
yeah, it is. And it's funny because again, I never forced creativity. And when I'll go back and I'll go into my notes and I'll go to the album title and I'll go through the track names. And every couple of months now, every month and a half actually, one of the songs that I've already created the track name for, I then know and how I want to write it. So it's coming to me as time is progressing. So it's kind of an album that's happening live in my life that started about 4 months ago. And each experience that I'm living right now is it's coming, one step ahead and it's shining the light. Everything's in the dark, but I just keep moving forward, even if and I do feel a little blind these days, but
Yeah.
yeah.
How so? Unpack that for me.
Well, I think I wrote a song maybe 7 months ago, 6 months ago called Floating that I released. And it's just about, um, and this one won't, it might be an extra track on the album, but I wrote it after the restaurant closed and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And a lot of the regulars gave me opportunities and different career paths and sales and marketing because I believe I could do anything, but it didn't feel right. And so it's a scary time in my life because I just felt like I was floating, but also You're floating in life, it's one of the best times because anything can happen. I can ever, there's all possibilities versus when you lock yourself down into a job, it's, I have to focus on that job. So it takes up a lot of my brain space and my focus.
That's a really beautiful way to think about that. In floating, it's just a total reframing of your mindset into a positive thing of, yeah, I'm not necessarily tied down, or I may not feel like I've got a direction that I'm going in, but that's the exciting part. Like anything can
Yeah.
happen versus, oh my gosh, the stress. I don't have my job. I don't have whatever XYZ is. I love that reframe. Is that something that
The,
you're naturally really good at, is reframing to the positive? I know that's something that I can struggle with.
yeah, I was gonna say it's you wake up every morning and the reminder to stay positive becomes more difficult, but it's my nature. I am a Sagittarius and I always try to see the good things, you know? Um, but yeah, I always just know that things are gonna work out because they do, whatever that be. And whatever decision I make, even if I sign on to a job that I hate and that I end up quitting, that was still part of my journey. So no answer or thing that I pick, I used to be so stuck on, is this the right decision? I don't want to lead someone on. I don't want to
Yeah,
take this. It's like you don't owe anybody anything, you know? You owe yourself um the chance and the opportunity to see. You don't know something until you see it through. Then you're justified. And you could say, I tried it. It's not for me. And I've
exactly.
tried a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We usually do, don't we? Especially with the
Yeah.
entertainment industry being a more nighttimey industry, having
Yeah.
random day jobs. Like, what are some of the fun things you've done? Like, I've done food service. It was
Yes.
terrible. I would forget
Yeah.
tables. Like, and it was
It's
Pizza
not
Hut.
for everybody. It's
No,
not for everybody.
and like it was Pizza Hut, nothing fancy,
Oh
and I
my
still
God.
couldn't manage tables.
Totally. Well, see, in a different setting, like in a restaurant, you would be amazing at it. Like if you had your own tables and stuff, because I think that's the thing is all restaurants aren't the same. I've been
That's
serving
true.
since I was 14, and I just can anticipate what my guests wants, and that's what they want. And they want what they want quickly. But that's the one thing I've been doing my whole life. But besides that, I was a chiropractic assistant for almost two
What?
years, which was amazing. I was a preschool teacher and taught kids gymnastics in New York City for about a year. I did data input. I tried out sales. I've done everything. And the thing is I'm like, I'm good at it all. It wasn't like I screwed up anything, but nothing was I never felt like any of those things were my passion. So I always went back to hospitality because I was good at it. I could leave work at work, feel good about my day that I'm helping people, and still get back to my real identity, which is music.
I've actually been learning more about producing music and songwriting recently, and it's made me really appreciate the differences of producing, songwriting. So I've always gone in and kind of come up with like an idea. Usually it's lyrics first, and then I work on a beat with someone else. What's kind of your writing process like?
First of all, production, which if you got into, I just want to give you such props because producing has been not my forte. It's just not something I'm like really passionate about. So I just think it's amazing that you're learning new things. My process usually is coming up with a guitar progression first. I'll be messing around and playing guitar maybe after I've practiced for an hour and run through my songs. And I'm usually not expecting to come up with anything, but I'll hear something, whether it's three chords or four chords, and I like how it goes. And I'll get it ingrained in my head for a couple minutes. And then I can just hear the syllables of words. So even if the words don't come to me right away, I know how I want it to sound, and then I could put meaning to it.
Ah, interesting. Okay. Okay. So then how has your songwriting kind of changed, or has it changed since I came across you on TikTok, and you do a lot of really, really good covers. And you mentioned that you sing at restaurants a lot and you sing for hours. So has that process of like doing covers, has that helped your songwriting or even just the extensions or the extended times of singing?
It really has
Yeah.
because first of all, I love music. So when you hear a song, whatever's the top of my Spotify list on my liked is usually what I'm listening to for about 30 days on
Hmm.
repeat. So I don't really get much other in.
Right.
Um, I when I want to cover a song, it's easy to make it my own because I may not know the tabs or the chords exactly, or it's out of my range.
Hmm.
But with the chords that I play, you can always switch it around, and within 1 or 2 minutes, I'm like, oh, this sounds the same. It's just like a couple keys down or
Right.
whatever, and I can and I just have my flowy version of it.
Hmm.
And yeah, when I play live at restaurants, I usually do cover, original, and go back and forth.
Hmm.
And I'm grateful that some people know it's a cover, and some are just like, I think I know this song, or did you write that? And I'm like, no, I wish.
Yeah.
But or I did write it,
Yeah.
and everything kind of flows into the next, especially acoustic. But yeah,
And what's that
yeah.
feeling like, being able to perform your live music so frequently?
It's honestly the best feeling in the world. I remind myself every day when I'm a little jaded or sad about what's happening or not happening with my career or
Mhm.
with life. The fact that I get to do that, or if I'm tired one day and I'm on my way to a gig and
Mhm.
my bag's packed and all my equipment's in the car, and I'm just like, I have to sing for 3 hours. I'm like, I get to sing for 3 hours. Like,
Yeah.
I'm exactly who I wanted to be when I was a little boy.
Mhm.
Like, didn't even know how to sing in front of somebody, and I wanted to be a pop star. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I am that. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, 3 hours. So you're doing like a full Taylor Swift concert when you perform.
Yes. Except you sitting or standing with a guitar. I mean, I'm not dancing and I'm not in 4-inch heel boots, unfortunately.
Not yet is
But
what I'm hearing.
yeah. I mean, I could do it. I have all the confidence in the world that I could do it. Um, but yeah, yeah, that's helped too over the last 20 years with my stamina. And
Yeah.
usually I can keep singing as long as I'm hydrating and eating some
Mhm.
apple slices here and there or a vocal mint. It's my guitar playing that will go first because my fingers
Ah,
just start to hurt. And I'm like, am I playing? Or is the muscle memory even working at this
it's still
point?
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are you always with your guitar when you go out and perform, or do you ever do backing tracks to kinda save your hands throughout your set?
I'm always with my guitar.
Mhm.
When I used to perform with my old friend Jameson,
Mhm.
he was an amazing guitar player, so we would switch off, and it was really nice just getting
Nice.
to sing and sit.
Right.
And I've dabbled in the last year through my amplifier. I got the different plugins to get some instrumental tracks
Oh,
on YouTube
cool.
that I love for
Yeah.
for some different all or whole wide range of songs, and
Right.
it's been nice to just be able to sing, but I haven't done that at a live performance yet.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
something in 2026 you can
Maybe
test, or
something.
maybe on your TikToks. See what
Exactly.
happens.
And it frees up so much more material that you can do, you
It
know?
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was doing shows a lot, I would kind of do like a backing track most of the time with my music, or I would play on the piano and then have it cut to the backing track at the same time, or like kind of like do motions or kind of get up and use my stage a little bit. I don't have the same experience as you do with performing consistently in like smaller venues like a restaurant or something like that. It's always been on more of like a stage type of thing. What's kind of been your experience going from the restaurant to, like, a stage where I know you used to perform outside, in, like, courtyards and things like that,
Yeah.
and what's kind of been, like, the
It's fun.
transition been?
It's funny you say that because I am so comfortable performing for a restaurant or a private event or a wedding because that's what I've been doing mainly. But when I started, like you said, I was either performing on Third Street Promenade and really performing and basking out there, or I had, so many shows at the Whiskey A Go Go. I played at the House of Blues, and I would have that like 20-minute set where
Right.
it's a really like a live show. And I'm excited to get back to that in addition to keep playing at the restaurants, but I want to have more shows where I don't have to play for 3 hours, but I really have to give you more and my all in maybe 30 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and perform, you know.
Yeah, it's a different muscle that you get to
Yes.
flex when you're doing a performance versus more like the background style music
Yeah.
with the weddings and the restaurants, because
Yes.
there's a volume aspect. Like you must be really good at reading the audience by having so much
Yes.
exposure in those different types of scenarios.
Yeah. And I'm almost too self-aware to where I'm focused on what I'm singing and playing, but I'm also reading the room and reading people's lips and someone walking in and I'm like, do they not like it? Do they think this is too loud? Oh, they weren't expecting live music. They hate it. Or
Uh
that person loves it or this and that, and none of it matters.
yeah.
The paid musicians, I'm there to be there and I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing, but um you got to block that out. And
Hmm.
I got to get that. And it's easier to do when you're playing a show. And when I used to audition and did The Voice and American Idol, some of the studio auditions that were private, I would have a backing track to one of my songs or a Sarah Bareilles cover. And my friend would send it to me, our version,
Hmm.
with my vocals taken. And it was so cool to just perform it,
Just go.
Go. Yeah. And my harmonies were in the back. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe on a future episode, have you come back and we should share our stories of doing those TV show auditions and how
Yes,
crazy they
yes.
are. They're so
They're
different
wild.
than what I think most people would assume auditioning for a
Yeah,
television show is, or just being
yeah,
a part of a television set. It's
yeah,
so vastly different than what
yeah.
I thought before I experienced it. We're going to have you perform Miss You Anyway. What does the song mean to you now versus when you wrote it? Because you released this in, I think, May last year. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, it's still one of my favorite songs that I've ever written. This song, I was in a relationship about a year ago. It still feels like it was yesterday,
Hmm.
because I still feel so not only connected to the song, but connected to this person.
Hmm.
Um, and thank God, a lot of times when you're not with someone anymore or things don't work out for whatever reason, um, it's made more negative, and
Yeah.
more negative heartbreak, and you just wish ill will towards them. And even though my heart is still broken, I still love this person. I still love him, and I always want him to be happy.
Hmm.
And that I think it's living my truth in these lyrics, but just saying like I still miss you anyways. There's still a positive. I would never speak ill will towards him. Um, no pun intended.
Hmm.
Those who get that would understand. Um, um, but yeah, and I also wrote this song in probably 9 minutes. So
Wow.
yeah, I came up with the chord progression, and I just knew how I wanted the words to go, and I figured out the end of the first line,
Hmm.
which I was like, direction sounds nice.
Yeah.
And then the initial words before that made sense. And I was like, no, this is me. And then they just start flowing.
Right. Well, that feels like the perfect place to pause and let the music speak for itself. So, whenever you're ready, Brad, I'd love for you to play Miss You Anyway for us.
I'm so happy that you connect with the song as well because it is one of my favorites. So
Yes, it's my favorite since I heard you perform it on TikTok. Like the
yeah.
first time I heard it, I was like, this is a good song.
Mhm.
And then I started really diving in because I was a fan, but this, I don't know, something about this. And it was very Taylor Swift. I hope that's a compliment for you. But the way you write is poetry. And that's how I
Thank
explain it to anyone that I introduce them to you. I'm like, I love him because he writes poetry. It's not just lyrics to tell like a basic surface level story. It's poetry. You write so in depth, and it's different from what I do. I write my story, but I don't do as many words as you do, and that's something I'd love to explore, writing more words to get more of the story out.
It's funny you say that, and I always over explain things in life, and sometimes simplicity is better. But if the words are there, I'm like, I'm gonna
Yes.
make them fit. I'm gonna
Yes.
make them all fit. All right. I'll say what I want, but it's headed in your direction. Moving on like I have no right, I'm trying to keep the connection. I need some melody I can follow, but I keep getting high just to feel low. But I don't wanna be anything other than me. Wish that you could see everything we did to it, but then we fell hard, laying on the floor. 'Cause everything's everywhere, heart is on the floor, how could you leave it there? If you care, you deserve it more than I would even dare to share or say. But I still miss you anyway. I still miss you anyway. It took time to believe in yourself, to recognize your reflection. It took time to get up your worth, much more than any affection. I need some melody I can follow, but I keep getting high just to feel low. But I don't wanna be anything other than me. Wish that you could see everything we did to it, but then we fell hard, laying on the floor. 'Cause everything's everywhere, heart is on the floor, how could you leave it there? If you care, you deserve it more than I would even dare to share or say. But I still miss you anyway. I still miss you anyway. I will miss you more every day. Was I gotta change? Nothing in my hand, missing yours, kinda feeling strange. Tell me once again, I'm not to blame. But I will miss you more every day. Was I gotta change? Let's go for a walk in the rain, wash away the pain. Tell me once again, it's meant to be. But I don't wanna be anything other than me. Wish that you could see everything we did to it, but then we fell hard, laying on the floor, laying on the floor. Everything's everywhere, heart is on the floor, how could you leave it there? If you care, you deserve it more than I would even dare to share or say. But I still miss you anyway. I still miss you anyway. I still miss you anyway. Ooh, ooh. I still miss you anyway.
Yay! Not so good. So
Thank you.
good. Oh, I loved what you did with the little tiny changes at the end too. You even did a nice little
Totally.
riff at the end.
Gotta
Love it.
change it up a little bit.
So good. I'm just sitting over here cheesing,
Oh, thanks.
catching myself in the camera, and I'm like, that's
So
awesome.
fun.
So it still hits every time for me. Every time I hear it. So does it feel different for you? The more that you sing it, the more that time passes on. Do you find it easy to still like tap into that emotion? How does
I
this feel?
Yeah, honestly, I do, and I
Mhm.
think that's why too when I sing this song, there's so many songs that I've played, whether it's a cover or maybe old originals that I dissociate while playing because I played them so often,
Yeah.
and Miss You Anyway, it just brings me back, to now and to then, so, yeah.
Nice. So, do you feel like this song represents, like, a specific version of you?
Yeah, I think, and also I think it represents, my songwriting. Like I'm very real, almost too real, and it's just how I'm feeling in the moment, and I that's how I want to be in any relationship, you know. I want to just be able to be myself and um period. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
don't want to feel like I have to change for anybody and yeah.
So, is there a line that is, like, the most personal for you in the song? 'Cause you mentioned you started with
The first 2 lines are my favorite,
yeah.
because like I said, I was like I knew when I wrote it, I was like, "Na na 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 in your direction." I'm like, "That just sounds good." I'm like, "Well, what am I gonna say?" And then the word just came to me, and if anyone knows me, I'm very blunt, and I'm very transparent, and sometimes my delivery, is my delivery.
Yeah.
And, it's just Lord knows I will say what I want, but it's
Mhm.
heading in your direction. So it's kinda like, watch out. I mean no harm. I
Ah.
mean no harm, but that's, yeah.
Okay.
And probably, yeah, yeah,
I love that. That makes me think a little deeper into the song. So like I love the intro too. That's like when the song comes in, I know exactly what I'm going to sing when I'm singing along with you. I really love when you change the storytelling from like my interpretation first person. You're talking kind of about yourself, first
yeah,
verse, this is what I want, and then we change it to who the song is about in
yeah.
second verse. And I love that those first lines. They are taking time to
To
believe in
believe
yourself.
yeah. And I'm talking about me.
Oh,
I'm
you
talking
are.
yeah, I
Uh,
wrote it that way, but I'm almost like that's advice to everyone out there too, like, it took
yeah.
time to believe in yourself to recognize your reflection, like, don't worry, like, that's what we all go through, and that's what I did. I had to, like, rebuild myself because I kind of lost myself or forgot who I was because, for whatever reason. It's
Wow.
like yeah.
Mind blown. Once again, I say this on my reaction channels and reaction videos and other videos that I do, like the power of music and interpretation, what someone can get from a song versus what we as the writers intended for the song and just how it relates. Like I totally took that as this is like an apology for me to you. I still miss you, even though everything like it's done. We
Yeah.
did it. We did it epically. We'll say it that way.
Yes.
And then it ended. I still miss you. Now, like you're taking the time to believe in yourself and recognize like where you were in this situation, and like that's okay. Like I
One has to
expect
take the
that.
time, one has to remember who they are, and I
Right.
love that you took it that way because a lot of my songs, that's the most, that's the biggest compliment, is when you relate to it in your
Yeah.
own way, so it just solidifies that, my lyrics happen to be universal, so it worked in so many
Yeah,
ways.
absolutely. Any other songs of yours that you kind of have a similar thing where maybe we are hearing a song differently than how you necessarily wrote? I'm going to say it
Yeah,
again, the poetry
the
of it.
the song that I just released, "Friends with Benefits,"
Yes.
and it's funny when I released that one, I was, every time I release anything or post anything, I'm like, he's gonna see it, because I know it's about me, and I'm like, I wrote I wrote, I always say, I told him I wrote one song for him, and I wrote 5 songs because of him, and
Ah.
yeah, but this Friends with Benefits was not about him.
Mm,
And it's not about my own experience with Friends with Benefits because
mm,
I couldn't. I mean, I've had the opportunity, but I personally, and no judgment to anyone, it's even in the lyrics, I just can't separate love and sex. And those who can and communicate well, I think that works beautifully. But I
mhm.
always, too, one of the lyrics in it is like, the only thing that two people with friends with benefits have in common is that we both don't care about me enough.
And it's totally like, just like you said, it's you gotta be in the right headspace for that type of commitment or some people's eyes, like lack of commitment. And it works for some people and it doesn't. You gotta be really honest with yourself and with each other. And it's okay that it doesn't work for you. If it's
Yeah.
something that doesn't feel good, you don't have to do it. That's the power of autonomy. And if it
And a
is
lot of
something
the
you can do,
times,
more power
yes.
to you.
Yes, Casey. And a lot of the times, one person is being so honest with themselves and the other, but the
Yeah.
other isn't. You think you're like, I thought this was
Hmm.
great, but then you realize maybe it was too much for them, or it was too hard, or they got attached, and they're like, wait, we had these ground rules, or whatever.
You mentioned kind of that you, especially with like Friends with Benefits, that's on the album that you're working on,
Yeah,
and you want to like full produce that song. Great
yeah.
song. I've heard it. And if you guys haven't listened to that yet, definitely check out the links for Brad below. Listen to and download all of Brad's music because it's fantastic. You're going to love it. So, since you're thinking of adding that to your album, are there any other songs that you've kind of put out that you'd like to see evolve in a more produced version? Or are you, with your artistry,
Honestly,
sticking the
I'm I I'm still in the in between for where I've written a couple other songs that are going to be on the album, but I'm telling myself be patient because I don't want to put them all out. But I would like to, if I get a producer again or get rediscovered or go on a path or get signed again, I don't want all the songs that I put out to just fade into the distance because they're some of the
Yeah.
greatest songs that I've written. And like Floating is so good. And I just it would be cool to re-record them. And again, I when I re-record them, it doesn't have to be fully produced, but just a few things added and just in a nice studio, and it just elevates the song, but still gives that raw acoustic feeling, which is me. So
Right. Yeah, and which we've all come to love from your TikTok lives.
thank you.
That's kind of how you got started. That's how I recognized you, and that's how I follow you. You've got tens of I think on TikTok alone, you're over 30,000 followers. So what you're
Yeah,
doing works. It's resonating with people. People
thank
want to see it. So I say keep doing it. If you want to finesse what you're doing a little bit, have just like better quality going in, but the same type of stripped back acoustic, that
yeah,
fits your voice, Brad. Like this genre is so made for you and you fit so perfectly into it. I wouldn't focus on changing too much, just amplifying kind of what you're doing.
that's the plan.
So now, like you were recently featured in Voyage LA magazine. What was that experience like? How did that come about?
That was amazing. A good friend of mine actually had worked with them and they recommended me to the magazine. And I didn't know this, but they find one of their outlets and sections is they find hidden gems
Hmm.
within LA and the outer areas of Los Angeles. And they reached out to me and asked if I would like to do an interview and a spread.
Hmm.
And of course I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so I did the interview, and within a week and a half, she emailed me and she's like, "Congratulations, the article's live. We look forward to working with you in the future." And it was cool because I like these moments when I know that my music speaks for itself,
Hmm.
but sometimes the hard thing as an artist is connecting with the audience and talking and this and that. I'm like, I just want
Right.
to go song to song to song.
Hmm.
And this is a kind of an insight of who I am, and I'm just very honest because I have nothing to lose at this point. I've been doing this too long, like so. I don't have anything to hide, and so yeah, which is one of my songs too, which is an old song called "Nothing to Hide." Yeah,
Ah,
but
yeah.
yeah, but I was just really grateful that they did such a nice job, and yeah, I
So
got
did
to
that
answer.
has that kind of recognition changed anything for you internally or externally?
Um, it kind of, I think the artist in me, we talked about this earlier before we started, but that we're always looking for that validation,
Hmm.
even though we have and should have that in ourselves, regardless
Hmm.
of how many views something gets or how many people heard my song. Would I still written it knowing that 5 people are going to hear it or 5 million?
Right.
And I think yeah, it's just that validation as an artist because I too, I've been doing this professionally for 20 years and I still have imposter syndrome
Oh yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, it's
So,
the scariest and most rewarding thing to release art. Whatever it is, if you are a writer and you write a book, if you write a song, if you paint something, anything that like is so personal to me to put out for the public to absorb, to judge, to love, it's scary. It's that validation that like I'm craving as a creative and the fear of am I good enough?
yes. And I love the artists who do get big enough or fortunate enough to have on a giant platform who don't look at go online anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that go online to post and keep doing your stuff, whatever it is, TikTok
Mhm.
authentically, but you're not reading the comments and you're
Right.
not reading. That's so important because even the positivity could get to your head,
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh
so
yeah. I definitely had that as a younger person.
yeah,
Had a lot of opportunities when I was younger that definitely inflated my ego. And
yeah,
a lot of people can attest to that old
yeah,
version of me. And I'm
yeah,
glad I went through it younger so I can appreciate the successes that I'm having now, like being in my mid 30s. And the
yeah,
world is different, especially this whole industry from when we were starting in our 20s. Like there wasn't anything like really YouTube wasn't around when we were starting to do music. So like getting discovered, it was all about that like special one-off chance.
yeah,
And now it's so
yeah.
attainable for creatives to get out there. There's a lot more competition happening, but it's so attainable now for us to build some form of an audience.
And when you're too full of yourself and your head gets too inflated, it's um, a further distance to fall when things don't
Yeah.
work out. It's like if you keep a sense of humbleness and modesty, which I always try to do my best
Mm-hmm.
because I can't be anybody other than me. So um,
Yeah. And you just miss
groups,
opportunities. Everyone knows everyone and everyone knows someone. So like
yeah,
burning bridges isn't a thing that you do in the entertainment industry because it's a close family. Like everyone knows someone and there's an opportunity that can be made somewhere. So yes, absolutely. Being humble, being gracious, being kind, and doing it for the joy of doing it.
that'd be a good song name, Burning Bridges. Not any of
Hey.
our songs, but that would be a good song to write.
All right,
I can write it for
start.
some. I'll write it for someone else. Yeah, yeah,
I'll sing it, Brad. I'd love to
totally.
sing
Yeah.
it. So, you did mention that you were performing at some vineyards in Napa. How
Yeah.
was that venue different than a restaurant for you? Do you have a preference on which one you prefer, outdoor, indoor?
They were similar, but the winery was so big and it was so cool because it was constantly people moving, new people coming in, they
Yeah,
go outside, they filter around, new people come in, they go and check out the grounds and the gardens. And the winery, Kendall Jackson, where I played, was so beautiful.
love Kendall Jackson, one of my absolute favorite wines. Are you a fan of theirs?
Yes, totally. And they
Yes.
just came out with a every time I perform, like afterwards, she was like, "Hey, what bottle do you want to take home?" And I'm like, "Oh, my
Yeah.
sister works in wine and works for Kendall Jackson, and we
What?
have so many." But I was like, I'll take the new sparkling. They have a new white sparkling, which was just
Oh,
so good.
the Cab Sav is so good.
Oh yeah, that's my sister's fave. Yeah,
Kind of looking ahead to like 2026. We've talked a little bit about the album coming that you're writing. Is that supposed to be dropped in 2026, or is that just what you're working on this year?
the it's kind of what I'm working on this year,
Hmm.
and as more experiences come my way
Hmm.
and more songs are coming to fruition because like I said I have all the track names.
Right.
um I think it's going to be a we'll see what happens because more experiences I get, the more opportunities. I'm just trying to say yes to everything. So
Okay. That's a great
yes,
mentality, as we were talking earlier.
yeah,
Like, how do you want this next chapter to feel? Since you're similar to me, an emotional artist, and that's kind of where we write and kind of share from is our emotionals. What do
yeah.
you want this next phase to feel like for you?
I want it to feel like almost like a rebirth, but
Mm.
of who I've always been. You know,
Ah.
I feel so aligned right
Hmm.
now in my life that I've been reminded for the last few years about what I'm meant to do and who I am supposed to be. And I'm on the right path because there is no wrong choice. So whatever I choose, I'm choosing it with grace and truth and just not doubting myself, you know?
Boom. There it
Yeah,
is. 2026. No doubt. No self-doubt.
no doubt.
We'll take it.
No doubt.
Well,
So,
Brad, I'm really grateful that you shared the space with me. What do you hope that people get away from this episode?
honestly, I just want to thank you for having me. This has
Pleasure.
been in the works for a while, and it's been so much fun being on here with my friend. And honestly, I just want people to take away that if you're a musician, keep doing what you're doing. If you're a creator, keep creating. If you haven't heard my music, check it out. It's very easily listening. And if you didn't know me or just knew my songs, hopefully you know a little bit more about me. And I'm just, yeah, honest, just trying to create the best songs that I know how to create and make you feel something.
And
So,
you definitely do it, Brad. So where's the best place that people can support you?
so you can check me out on TikTok. I'm BabyBop321 or Brad Kirsch. I come up either way. I release all my music on Spotify under Brad Kirsch, iTunes, Apple Music, YouTube, and all streaming platforms.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, Brad, for joining me today. I am so excited for what you're working on and for what the next chapter of your journey is going to be like. You really do deserve all of the success. If you want to see more content like this, make sure that you're subscribed to my channel, that you hit that like button. Let me know in the comments which one of Brad's songs is your favorite. Is it the same as mine? Miss You Anyway? Let me know. Remember to be kind to others and most importantly, be kind to yourself. All right, until the next one. Peace.